We are working on Psalm number 61, and that has a couple of traditional purposes. One of them is overcoming any trouble with the law, but it also has a traditional purpose for helping somebody who's finding a new residence. And it can be for people that are looking to find the residence, or if you have to sell an old residence to make new for the new residence. So any kind of buying and selling of real estate that is your primary residence, not just real estate investment. Okay, so that's what this is for. Today, we're going to work on it for finding a new home, finding a new residence. All right. So the way we work these psalm spells is quite simple. We read through the psalm out loud without stopping, and then we go back through and we go through the psalm verse by verse, and we consider hidden meanings within the psalm. And as we consider those, as we dig for them, as we hunt and find them, we are actually, in effect, planting them as seeds deep in the fertile ground of our minds. And those seeds take root, and they grow, and they bear fruit after their kind. And we did work a talisman today, and if you want to see how to do that, you can watch the live stream for today. Today, if you look up the live stream for July the 18th. And here we go with Psalm 61. Hear my cry, O God, attend unto my prayers. From the end of the earth will I cry unto thee. When my heart is overwhelmed, lead me to the rock that is higher than I. For thou hast been a shelter for me, and a strong tower from the enemy. I will abide in thy tabernacle forever. I will trust in thy covert of thy wings, Selah. For thou, O God, hast heard my vows. Thou hast given me the heritage of those that fear thy name. Thou wilt prolong the king's life, and his years as many generations. He shall abide before God forever. O prepare mercy and truth, which may preserve him. So will I sing praise unto thy name forever, that I may daily perform my vows. All right, so now we're going to go back through and we will mine those, work the magic, and see what we can find. Here we go. So it starts out with, hear my cry, O God, attend unto my prayer. So we are calling out to God. And when we say God in the Psalms, or the Lord, sometimes he's called in the Psalms, we're talking about the Godhead. And if you know anything about the tree of life on the Kabbalah, it's the top sphere. This is not a separate deity. This is not a male deity or a female deity. It's not a deity at all. It is the source of life itself. It is one power, one principle. There's only one. There's only one source. There's only one substance. There's nothing to oppose it. There's nothing to thwart it. So that is who we are addressing here, the one power of the universe. It is that which is beating your heart right now. So we say, hear my cry, O God. When we say, hear my cry, we are crying out. That means that we are using our voice both literally and figuratively to cry out to this one power. Usually we cry out to God because things aren't working out so well, but you can also cry out to God because you're happy, and that's a good place to be too. So attend unto my prayer. So we are establishing our relationship with God in this first verse. From the end of the earth will I cry unto thee when my heart is overwhelmed. Lead me to the rock that is higher than I. So from the end of the earth will I cry unto thee. So the end of the earth is all aspects of the manifest world. Every aspect of your manifest life. There is not one place in that manifest life that you're not going to cry to God. So there's no place where, there is no spot where God is not, is the way of thinking that. When my heart is overwhelmed, lead me to the rock that is higher than I. So when my heart is overwhelmed, the rock that is higher than I, that means that the rock means the foundation, the part of us that is the place that is immovable, that we can completely trust, that there's nothing to worry about. And that rock is higher than they're higher than we are, meaning that it's above our problems. There's a place above our problems where we have security, where we have solution, where we have success, and where we have safety. And that's where we are asking to be placed. For thou hast been a shelter for me and a strong tower from the enemy. So we are acknowledging that the shelter of God is a place where we can go to be impervious to the problems about us. When they're calling that the enemy here, those are enemy thought forms. Those enemy thought forms create enemy experiences in our lives. And it always comes from the inner to the outer. That's the flow of creation. So if there's things in our lives that we do not want, that means that there are thought forms that are creating those things. And we are asking to be that shelter from that. I will abide in thy tabernacle forever. I will trust in the covert of thy wings, Selah. Okay, so to be covered by God is like a mama hen who's covering her chicks with her feathers. It's being completely covered. It's being completely protected. No harm can come to them. No harm can come to you because God's wings are sure. That's the covert of the wings. I will abide in thy tabernacle, it says, forever. The tabernacle of God is that place up in our minds that is the place where we are one with God. There is nothing to oppose God. If God is for us, who could be against us is the question you ask yourself. So when you are in that tabernacle, there is nothing to oppose your good. And that's where we want to abide. For thou, O God, hast heard my vows. Thou hast given me the heritage of those that fear thy name. Okay, so for thou, O God, hast heard my vows. The vows of God, how do we get the vows of God? It's not by making promises and keeping them so much. It's more, we're talking about considering and meditating and contemplating the qualities of God. Let's think of a few qualities of God. God is infinite life. God is infinite truth. God is infinite soul. And we are like beams of light, sunbeams that are emanating from a central sun. God is that central sun, and our souls are beams of light. So that He is our creator, they are our creator, it is our creator, because it's pre-gender, right? God is infinite spirit. There's nothing to oppose it. There's nothing to thwart it. There's nothing that can destroy it. God is infinite intelligence, all the galaxies, all the embryos out of babies, forests out of acorns, all of the infinite intelligence that is God. Infinite love. There is nothing but compassion, nothing but love. God loves you, and that's all. God's judgment of you is that you are awesome the way He created you, the way it created you, if that's better. So God is infinite principle. 1 and 1 will always equal 2. Nobody can change that. No matter how many times they lie about it and say 1 and 1 equals 5, it won't make it true. So God's principles are eternal. So those are the things that we think about, and that's the vows, by considering what God is. All right. And thou wilt prolong. Oh, then it says, thou hast given me the heritage of those that fear thy name. Our heritage is what we have been given. Our heritage is our birthright. So fearing the name of God, the name of something in the Psalms is the nature of something. So the name of God is the nature of God, and we just talked about some of the qualities which are the nature of God. Fearing those qualities doesn't mean you're like terrified of them. It means that you have an undying respect for them. You recognize that the difference between you and God is only one thing. God made you. You didn't make God. That's the fear of God. It's respect. It's respect. It's not terror. It's not being scared of it. Thou wilt prolong the king's life and his years as many generations. Prolonging the king's life means that the king in this case is the leader of the world, is the leader on earth. You are the king of your own life. So you are the king. So to have your life prolonged by God simply means that the eternality of who you are will be reflected in your affairs, and you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so he shall abide before God forever. O prepare mercy and truth, which may preserve him. So he shall abide before God forever. We're talking about I'm sorry. I missed a line. It says, thou wilt prolong the king's life and his years as many generations. So we're also talking about the thought forms of the king, so who we are as people. Not only if we allow God's thought forms to take over for us, it's not only those thought forms, but the new thought forms that are children of those. So all of the thoughts that come out of God's thoughts are holy, and they will protect you, they will prosper you, they will give you everything that you need, those thought forms. So what our goal is to not create our own thought forms separate and distinct from God, is only to allow God's thought forms to procreate. Okay, so he shall abide before God forever. O prepare mercy and truth, which may preserve him. So he shall abide before God forever. That's the king. That's us. Abiding before God forever means that we recognize the reality, the truth of who we are and why we're here. We are before God. We've never not been before God. There's never been a place that's not with God, connected with God. It's just our ideas of the world were wrong. We made choices, we believed lies, that we were separate from God, and that's why the world exists the way it does. It exists in a way that is a fragment of the truth. And so that's why we have so many problems in the world, is because we believe that we are separate from God. But that's not really true, and therefore the problems that we experience aren't really true. They have already been solved in truth. So if we can put our minds back in alignment with our oneness with God, we will realize the reality of the fact that those problems are already solved, and we will see the evidence of that. Okay, so O prepare mercy and truth, which may preserve him. Mercy is that fourth sphere on the tree of life, and that's where all benevolence replaces all problem. And truth also exists on that same sphere, that Jupiter sphere. So this is a Jupiter expansive psalm, and we are coming to get expansion of our good here. And in this particular case, we're looking at the expansion of our good as far as our residence, but you can expand that to anything you'd like, because that's the mystery of the Psalms, is even though we can use them for traditional purposes, in reality, any psalm can be used for any purpose. All right, and then it ends with, so will I sing praise unto thy name forever, that I may daily perform my vows. Singing praise forever. The power of praise is immense. So singing praise is a poetic way of being one with praise. You can sing it, but you don't have to worry about actually singing melodies with your voice. It's looking at, if there's problems, looking instead at what can I praise? What is good? What good does exist? That's where I want to focus. I want to praise the good that already exists before me, and that's how we activate this power, so that things change on our behalf. That I may daily perform my vows. So if we are constantly praising that which is good, then we are constantly reminding ourselves of who God is. We are contemplating those qualities of God over and over and over again. That is our daily work. Those are our daily vows. And this is how you work a psalm like this. And just keep coming back to the psalm again and again every day, and you should see movement in whatever your whatever things that you are working the psalm for, fairly quickly. Within 2 weeks, you should see movement in the right direction. And if not, then we need to figure out what's wrong. and so that's why we have our forums. That's why we have our Facebook group. So you can come on there and we will help you troubleshoot if there's a problem. All right, this has been great. As always, I can't wait to work with you again. And until that time,